Now let's try to test the exception handling of this particular process. Let's go into the Hasta and let's rename this particular file so that we create a system exception, because it will search for this file, and if it is not available it should throw an exception, right? With that we'll be able to test how it works for system exceptions. Let me click on debug now. So there are a total number of 4 files available, 4 folders. So the transaction number right now is 1. Step into, we are here because 1 is less than or equal to 4, so it will go into it. This time I have the data of Hasta. Click on F11 and we'll slowly, because we have some data, we'll move on to process transaction. Here is this, and click F11. Step into, and see, we were able to fetch only payroll declaration form and there is no appointment letter available. Because we have to be passing that to this, we will find an error here saying path cannot be null. With this, we'll come out of that, we'll come out of the process, and it will start. It will just assign the exception to system exception variable, which can be further used to decide whether to retry or not to retry. So because there is a system exception, it has to go to this particular sequence, and here we are. It is trying to log the files, and here, because the retry max retry we have in the configuration file is 2, which is greater than 0, this condition turns out to be true. So it will go here, and retry number, which is 0 by default, is not greater than the max retry. It will go to this and it will increment the retry number. So that is what is happening here. So it is not incrementing the transaction, because if we increment the transaction it will reach out to this. We are still on this and we are trying to retry it once again. So click on step into. So here we are. It will try to take the screenshot, then it will close the applications and it will move on. Let me go back to the main file, and here, so because it's a system exception, it will again go to get transaction data available. If I just click on continue, here we are. The transaction number is still 1, but the retry is 1 this time instead of 0, which was the initial number. Click on continue, and here it is again trying to fetch the value, but this time also it was unable to get it, so it will fail again. Click on continue, and again here it is. So it was able to go through that. It has incremented the value again. Step into. As you can see, the retry number is 2 now because it has retried it for the second time. Just click on continue. So it has again come to the get transaction data. So click on continue. Here again it is failing to fetch the appointment details right here because there is no path available. Click on continue, and continue. So it has reached here. It will try to assign that particular exception to the system exception, and just clicking on that it should reach this. Here we are, and we are into this. But this time, though this turns out to be true, the max retry is greater than 0, it should go this side, but retry number is also 2. When 2 is greater than or equal to max retry, go to the S part. So it will go to S part, which is this, and then here we are. It will try to increment the number, and it will take the screenshot of it, and then it will try to close all the applications. Once that is done, it will go back to the get transaction data state, which is this particular state again. Here we are, but this time instead of 1 we have 2 with us, and if I just click on step into, it is trying to go into this, and 2 is less than or equal to 4, so the value of Jack should be assigned to this. Click step into, yeah, we are into Jack. Because we found that Hasta has some problem with the files, we have skipped this and we have moved on to this. So this is how we were able to handle the exceptions. If this was corrected while we were doing, if we have just replaced this particular name with appointment, it would have proceeded further and it should have been successful. So now, because we are with the second transaction, let's click with submit and continue. So this time I was able to get the appointment letter path and payroll details. Click on continue, continue, and it is trying to fetch the details of payroll. So because it was able to get those details, the appointment letter path and the payroll, it was able to proceed further and be able to generate the employee number, the employee ID and the email ID. So now it's trying to add the details of him to the master sheet. And now by now it should have added those details and it was successful. So it will move on to this particular sequence. Oh, it is moving on to this because right here, okay, you have to initialize the system exception also, as we have done for the business exception. Take an assign activity and system exception is nothing, and that should be fine. With this it will work fine, and because we have failed to process this and it was successful for this, it will be moved to this particular success files, leaving behind the failed ones right here. That was about the exception handling mechanism in RE framework.